Is Asian food any good in London? We're going to talk about it all with our British educated friend, Zach Chen.
What's good, guys?
Yo, tell us about your food background.
Yeah, so I'm basically born and raised in Singapore, did 2 years in the army, and then did 3 years in London. Just graduated and moved out here to New York.
So you're familiar with having a Chinese? You took a Chinese before.
Statement. Yeah, I'm definitely familiar with having a Chinese.
All right,
Chinese
guys, we're
myself.
going to talk about food in London. Me and David have not visited personally, but I've done a lot of research. You've lived there. I went to Europe and ate some Asian food. But anyways, we just want to real quick just talk about the demographics in London, because I think like London is actually about 20% Asian, but most of that is Indian, right? South Asian.
Right.
But there is a sizable amount of Chinese there that maybe have been there for multiple generations or mostly new. And then, so yeah, I mean, that's going to kind of dictate the food scene, right?
Right, yeah. So as to your statement, a large majority of the Asians in London are actually like, or even the UK for the matter, are South Asians. And so like we said just now, where if you say Asian, it's going to be referring to a South Asian guy. So you kind of got to go with that whole Oriental. And in that same breath, the Oriental food, I kind of hate using the word, but the East Asian food in London, man, is not really as what you expect.
Right. Is there in any Southeast Asian food at all? Because obviously you grew up in Singapore, Southeast Asia.
So growing up in Singapore, I'm kind of like well aware of like just the amount of Southeast Asian food that there is out there. And to be honest, in London there is Southeast Asian food, but it's not really like, you know, like voluminous. Like there isn't a lot of restaurants that are Southeast Asian.
I would contrast it with America, where outside of France, I think Paris actually has quite a bit of Vietnamese food, which I did have. But in America, Vietnamese food is pretty popular. Vietnamese, Korean. Obviously, there's Chinese food everywhere. So
Thai food is super popular right now.
Thai food is very popular, but I think Thai food is trending in London, as you said earlier. But anyways, as far as foods that we have a lot of that you guys probably don't have in London, is probably like Vietnamese food is one of them. Right. Because you guys just don't have that many Vietnamese people.
I mean, we do have Vietnamese people, but it's not going to be to the level that you guys have them like out here in America, right? And I think to that topic, let's say on a night out, like you're out with some friends and maybe not everyone's from the same background. We could all eat pho, right? But it kind of be like a different vibe in London where I'd say like from my observation, at least a lot of the East Asian food, especially like Japanese, Korean, is all been kind of like commercialized into this like very accessible, like, you know, like if you're not familiar with the culture, you can eat this kind of food, but it's not very organic, if you understand what I mean.
Like a Wagamamas.
Yeah, that's what I'm insinuating.
So we got to pop up some photos of Wagamamas right here. Wagamamas is a very popular British Chinese Pan-Asian fusion chain, right? Because they have pad thais and things there and shabu shabu, I think. And it's like almost all encompassing. But is this the equivalent of like the Pan-Asian PF Changs?
To be honest, like I couldn't even say because I've never even had Wagamamas in my life, and I'm pretty like I stand on that. But like I think from what I've seen, Wagamamas is what a person that grew up in the UK that has never traveled to Asia impression of Asian food, and therefore it's just reinforcing that idea of Asian food. And so like, hey, to that whole logic of like if it ain't broken, don't fix it. Where versus trying some stuff that's maybe like more heavily seasoned in spice, or maybe with like some flavors that aren't like, you know, like that accessible to the palate. We're just gonna give them something that more of a, I don't want to say, you know, simplistic Anglo-Saxon palate, more British, like not a lot of spices.
Right. Well, I mean, I think as we've talked about that the Asian pride movement is not as strong or it's not as progressive in the UK as it is like in America. So as far as like, I feel like in America, because it also is an immigrant nation, it's like very much prides itself on all the great high quality immigrant food that we have here. Like we'll talk about like Mexican food is the best, whatever in California.
It does depend where in America though. Because when you go to Texas, and especially rural Texas, it's almost more like the UK.
Right, but in the cities, the big cities in America, we have pretty good food, right? Like from all the different ethnicities. But yeah, I mean, I think, and then I guess it's different in the UK where it's not, I'm sure the Middle Eastern food is really good, like the Mediterranean food is really good, right? But the Asian food is just not on that level.
Yeah, because I think for East Asian food in particular, because South Asian food, there's a whole lot of South Asian people in London, and
approximately 650,000 according to the census.
Out there, so definitely it comes to the food. And I think a really interesting topic about that, or something that I've never really thought about per se till this combo, is that because when you have like large group of ethnic people that congregate together, the food's gonna be good because the food's gonna be authentic to that target
because
audience.
They're gonna demand it. The market's gonna demand it.
You're not gonna be able to serve South Asian food to a South Asian guy that's kind of not how he remembers it, right? So the same thing with East Asian food, because to my knowledge, there aren't a lot of like congregations. The biggest congregation in London that I can think of that's East Asian is probably just going to be Chinatown. And even Chinatown in and of itself is nothing compared to the New York one or even the one in Queens. It's a very tourist destination place. You go there, you take a pic under the the lanterns, and you call it a day. But I think the whole thing with finding like authentic East Asian food, I hope I'm wrong, but it may be a real challenge in the UK because you're gonna find something that's maybe not all the way authentic, but like if you were to find authentic food, it's kind of gatekept.
So I want to ask you. So maybe the Asian food, the East Asian food, or the Oriental food is not that authentic, right? Not that traditional, and maybe doesn't have all the flavors that you would expect if you traveled there, or it's nothing like the stuff that you get in actual Asia. But do people like it? And do you think that still reflects like people's attitudes towards Asian people? Like, are they like, oh, I love this Westernized Oriental food as long as these Oriental guys act Westernized too? Or, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, is there some type of like correlation?
No, I definitely get that point because as an East Asian guy myself and growing up in Southeast Asia, like I've seen a fair share of people that kind of like have a very simplistic view of our food, right? Where it's kind of like, it feels a bit to me like a bit of a disservice because we've done like so much, we put in so much work to like elevate the food to a point where it is, and then kind of like all you know out of it is shrimp fried rice, or all you know out of it is Singaporean noodles. I still to this day don't really know what Singaporean noodles are because there's like 50 different kind of noodles in Singapore. I'm not sure which one it is.
Well, we the HK people, we gotta admit, we branded it that the Sing Zao Cao My Fun. It was like it was probably I think it was a Ta Tan Ting, like Hong Kong cafe chef who went to Malaysia or Singapore and then brought it back with like a third of the ingredients.
Yeah, because we don't even know what that dish refers to in Singapore, which I guess I say all that to say that there's a lot of stuff that I wish like people would know, but because of the fact that, to your point, Andrew, where it's just like, okay, like, do I want to know? Do I really deeply care enough about, like, let's say, finding more about this person's culture or learning more about this person's food than to just eat something that works for me? So if I like sushi, would I really like spend that much money to go like to an omakase place, or could I just get like the like itsu, the little rolls?
Right. But sometimes it's like you got to. It's so complicated because I think the details matter. Like I think that, and I. Like, tell me if you agree with me or not. Panda Express is actually a great gateway for most Western people to get into Chinese food.
And I think I agree with that because I agree with the concept that it's a gateway, but a gateway always insinuates that it's leading into a whole treasure chest of things that you could discover once you pass through this. It feels like in London, it's a gateway to nothing.
Wait. So you saying Wagamama is not a great gateway into authentic East Asian food in London?
Shout out my UK Asians, you gotta back me on this, bro. Wagamama is trash, and I haven't even had it myself. So this is a hot take.
You know they came to New York. They opened up like 4 locations and they shut down 2.
You know what's funny? The first time we had Wagamama was in Beijing, in the foreigner area, right?
Yeah, that's on some like.
Oh, that's Waga's. Oh, that was a knockoff, maybe.
No, it was just a different brand.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Point number 2: what is taking a Chinese?
Like, have a Chinese.
So that's a really interesting concept for especially Asian Americans like yourself in the States, where having a Chinese literally refers to the activity of having a Chinese takeout with. I mean, I doubt that a Chinese person would say let's have a Chinese, because that insinuates a very different meaning. So when they say that, it literally refers to kind of like maybe a overly deep fried fish with fries and some.
I got these pictures and it kind of looks like some hood Chinese food, but also the curry fries is like, man, that if that symbolizes Chinese food, I get it. Like,
no, it's like for the British sailor hoods of like the 1920s.
There's like chicken nuggets here. You do have some like my fun here.
I will say there was one dish I saw at one Chinese takeout in London that I liked, and it was salt and pepper fries.
Okay.
Normally the salt and pepper shrimp, but they did that with fries, and I did think that was cool, and I was like, maybe they should bring that to the hood over here.
Right.
Like that was the one where I was like, I would try that.
Does when people say have a Chinese, like, does anybody ever use that for like other meanings? Like some British girls like, yeah, I just had a Chinese last night.
You know what's so crazy about that is because I've not to freaking incriminate myself, but like I've heard that in person where it's kind of like almost been, I would say even been desensitized to the point where it could be even joked about, where it's like, oh, like, look at that guy, like he looks like a nice Chinese. Well, I know what the meaning is and I get the joke, but I struggle to laugh at it because imagine if it was the other way around. That would be crazy, right? So,
right, but are you saying like from a white British girl who's attracted to Asians being like, I'd like to have that Chinese over
I've
there?
heard it in passing. I've definitely heard it in passing.
Hey,
I don't know
man,
how much truth
I would
it is
say
in
if
that,
a girl
but-
wants to say it in that context, let's be honest, a lot of dudes, they'll let it slide.
Hey, but it's a self-respect thing,
That's
though.
quite a fine Chinese.
Hey, that looks like a nice plate of curry fries.
Well, to be honest, I could imagine like British guys at a pub, like all gathered on a boys' night, being like, "Oh,
well, I can see them saying that about Asian girls, right?
you ever seen that nice Chinese that just walked by?"
And then as an Asian guy, you go, yeah, you want to try my chicken balls? Because you guys
Chicken
probably,
balls.
they love the chicken balls,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
It's
they
like a
do
ball
love
of
the-
chicken.
Yeah. What about like East Asian? Because I know that you've been saying East Asian, and unfortunately, the word Oriental still gets used in the UK, right? So do Asians themselves use that word Oriental to describe food? You know how like there's that one top ramen flavor? Do they still call it
No,
Oriental?
they call it something else now.
When we were growing up, the top ramen packet, the blue one,
It's called soy sauce now.
oh, okay, it was called Oriental for like
Right.
half of my childhood, but they changed it, obviously, you know. So, do Asians in the UK, and when I say Asians, I guess we got to separate. Do South Asians use the word Oriental to describe other East Asians, and likewise?
Or, do you guys use it internally? Like, we are the Orientals.
I'll be so honest. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys, like in the comments below, but I believe it's mainly South Asians that use that word
to describe East Asians.
to describe East Asians, because think about it from like if you're an older Caucasian guy, you're just gonna call us Asians. No matter what kind of Asian you're just Asians.
There's
right?
too much nuance there.
It's a very simple concept to them. But then the thing is, once you say the word Asian in the UK, which is very different than being Asian American, you're referring to a South Asian guy or girl, very, very clearly. So I guess like the South Asian community, maybe I could be completely wrong with this, but they use that word to kind of like differentiate what kind of Asian are you.
Right.
And to them, it may be just a word that's used in like tongue in cheek, because you can't be like every time just be like East Asian, because what if you're Southeast Asian? You know what I mean? So it's just like it's a one size fits all. Like
So to them,
yeah.
two people, and maybe it's some
Right.
South Asians or non-Asians, right? They would use Oriental to describe like a Mongoloid, Chinesey, part Chinese passing Asian.
No, it's an OMP. It's an Oriental Mongoloid phenotype. that's what Rishi Sunak would say. No.
Yeah.
Well,
to
but-
be exact, to be very specific, it's somebody who passes as part Chinese, essentially.
Well, I mean, I'll be called an Oriental person because
Right.
I've been called that, and
Right.
it's funny because shout out my roommate, you know who you are, but he actually called me that, and I was like, wait, like, pause, what you just call me? And then he was like, oh, no, Oriental, right? You're like an Oriental guy. I'm like, bro, like, I've never heard the phrase Oriental be used with a person. The last time I used the word
what
Oriental,
race was he?
He was like a South Asian guy. Like,
Oh,
Pakistani,
okay.
yeah.
So he didn't mean it like that. I mean,
no,
obviously,
yeah.
I don't think. I mean, the one time I got called Oriental, I was working at LA, and then this old British lady was asking for me to a coworker, and then she goes, he was like, "Oh, who was helping you?" The Oriental man. And then I was like, it relayed back to me. I was like,
What if you would have
she
said
could have
what?
said Asian, but like, I was like,
What if you would have said, who are you referring to? The chinky one. The one with the chinkiest.
you know, the
eye
guy,
holes.
the Oriental gentleman. You know what I mean? No, I was
All
like,
right, real quick, tell us about Singaporean food. Is it overrated, underrated, or fairly rated?
Yeah, so the whole thing with Singaporean food is that I'm proud to say that I believe that we have some of the best food in Southeast Asia. Which is the hot topic right here.
Man, just say the world, man.
Yeah,
You don't have to hedge it within sector.
Yeah. Listen, I'm from Singapore, so obviously I might be slightly biased in that sense.
What's
but
the best Singaporean food? Because most people,
Right.
like you said, maybe prior people only had Singaporean noodles, which are barely Singaporean at all, from a Hong Kong cafe. Then it sort of expanded. Laksa's in there now, chili crabs, sattés, chicken rice. What are the best ones?
Bang for the buck, chicken rice. I say if you wanna like tap into Singaporean food, the best thing that you can try and you won't go wrong with is Singaporean food for you to really start with. You know.
No, but what? Like what dishes?
Right, so like Hainanese chicken rice is up there, and I'd say like honestly, if you're feeling like adventurous, we do crab, in my opinion, like the best in the world. And that says a lot.
All right. So top 5 dishes. No. I want to hear the top 5 off your head. It doesn't have to be exact, but what are the top 5 dishes is from Singapore?
Singapore, right? Off the top of my head, spontaneous chicken rice. We're going Hainanese. Well, we're going Hainanese chicken rice. We're going chili crab. We're going Hokkien mee. We're going. I'm gonna throw in. Oh man, I need like a hot second. We're gonna run this back.
Okay. No, it's okay. It's okay. Those are pretty. I was with you on all 3 though.
Yeah.
Because Andrew, we be going to the Hokkien mee spots with the wonton noodles.
As well, but then there's like South Asian is roots. That's like
no, you can say roti canai, right?
Okay,
roti canai. Yeah. You were thinking you were
like hyper unique,
right?
Because chili crab's almost only Singaporean.
Right, you were thinking of
like
stuff that's
it's not even in Malaysia. As much, right?
All right. I love kaya toast.
Yeah,
kaya toast is great. You know.
Yeah. Because I'm trying to think of things you can. Hold
on. Is this controversial or not? Because I know some people roasted me for this one time because they're like, "Oh, David, I thought you knew about food." I love Toastbox.
Well, I mean, I love Toastbox.
I know, but you know how some people are like, "Hey, well, you like Toastbox? It's not even the
Yeah. But the thing is, if you want to be a food critic, don't be a food critic about bread and like damn near like jam, bro. Like you can go critic like things that require a bit more like like nuance, like years
chili
of, like,
crab.
bro, like it's literally just like bread and spread. So if you get it right in kaya toast,
I have been the biggest proponent. I would buy stock in Toastbox if they wanted to go global. I believe in the aesthetics. I believe in the system, the process. I believe in the product. I believe in the malleability
You looked
of the
at their
product.
P&L? Did you look?
I don't know what their internals are like, but I'm just saying Toastbox, it looks like a Kith store, but they're serving kaya toast.
Sure.
I love that. That's so Asian. And I think the rest of the world, maybe that would have seemed jarring at one point to serve kaya toast and eggs and stuff like that. I think it would work globally in 2024.
Okay. Kaya toast. Let's know.
Toast box.
David's voting for kaya toast in 2024. Yeah. What are some, let's brainstorm some Singaporean dishes that deserve more shine in America, in the Western world, that should be more blown up. We get it that, what is already popular? Chicken rice is gaining popularity here.
I got one. There could be a slightly less medicinal version of bak kut teh.
I knew you were going to say that, yeah.
But because it's so good and people love that pork flavor. Right. But it is true in its 10 out of 10 traditional old school format, a little too medicine tasting.
But the thing is though, like I'd say what makes it old school and what makes it like unique to Singapore is that medicinal taste. So when you take it out, it might...
No, I'm not saying take it out 10 out of 10.
Or like chill out on that.
Like just reduce it.
Definitely. Well, that could be. So like bak kut teh is up there. Obviously, we went through the list just now. It was chicken rice, laksa, and we even got like roti canai in there. But like the thing is about like the whole thing with like chicken rice, it's not even like accessible to people in the sense that the activity of making chicken rice is that you're cooking all the rice in the chicken fat, right? And that's what gives it its flavor. And to cook chicken rice, you need like free range chicken. You can't just like be like buying any chicken from the shelf. So I'd say in and of itself, if you could make that dish more accessible, you could tap into the entire market because that's our dish in Singapore. And obviously chili crab is up there, but like how many people are going to be eating crab on
it's expensive
everyday basis? 100%,
the process is expensive, the labor is expensive.
All right, I got one. Right. One style, it's a particular Singaporean and Malaysian style of char siu.
Okay.
It is different than a lot of the char siu you get here.
You're saying different from a Hong Kong style.
It is a little bit different. It's
Hong
darker.
Kong style is the one that more people are familiar with.
No, that's more red, but this one's darker. I think they use a darker soy sauce or whatever.
It's more candied, right?
I like it better. I like it better. And I think
say the whole sentence.
I like the Malaysian Singaporean style of char siu better overall.
Then what?
But you cannot find it out here. Because they're just not going to put in the work to make it like that. Also more people will be asking for the Gong Zhao.
So the char siu that you're referring is the cha sao suyok, that whole thing. You find in Chinatown.
Yeah,
right?
I think it's done a little different. It's done differently there. The char siu looks different.
It's more firm, and the roasted meat is definitely like way more crispy.
It's way more burnt.
So it's way more burnt.
Bacon-like.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Where I definitely prefer it, but like I feel like the Canto style is more on texture. If you get what I mean. The one in Singapore is very heavy on flavor.
That's fair.
Depends which camp you're on.
Almost more like getting into sausage territory.
100%.
Can laksa be ranking up in the noodle soups, or is it because it's kind of fish?
Yeah, so
it's like a fish curry. You know what I mean?
It's like a prawn pasty type like situation. I feel like obviously the goats of like if you're talking the noodle world, it's obviously like we got ramen and then ramen and then like whatever you want to throw in there. Laksa isn't really our strongest export, but it's definitely up there with. It's almost like in flavor profile. I even say it's kind of like Caribbean because of like the coconut milk. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
All right,
Definitely,
I think people would say it would be better in Malaysia.
Oh, char kway teow.
Can char kway teow rival like a pad see or a beef chow fun? You know, like a gong chong hao. Like, can it rival? Can it actually?
Oh, yo. I'll say
that's-
this. No,
that's,
for Canto people, though, or Southern Chinese, or people with Southern Chinese roots, however many generations back, it could be.
I'd say pad see and like pad thai. It's still, those are still pretty good.
All right, I will say this. You know the Black Moon style?
Okay.
Where they put the raw egg on top?
Okay.
With the black sauce on? Yeah, that one is
That's
crazy.
unparalleled though.
No, black.
As a culinary experience, like I know exactly the one you're talking about. Like it's got like one singular egg yolk on top, and they mix it in, and they serve it piping hot.
With dark soy sauce.
That, in my opinion, it's an unparalleled culinary experience. It doesn't even like the fact that it's in the form of char kway teow is just arbitrary. But like I think if that dish, if you wanna put it up, band for band, if you're gonna put it out band for band with like the best
fun for
beef
fun.
or fun, you know what I mean? Like I'd say I'm pretty confident pound for pound.
Yeah,
I guess
and
it's
nobody
called-
knows about it. Pop that up, Black Moon char kway
It's fire.
teow.
I think is it Moonlight Noodle or something like
Yeah,
that?
yeah,
I'm looking
yeah.
it up. Yeah, Moonlight Noodle, guys. I agree, David. This is a sleeper one. I think this one deserves it.
All right,
but
real
I think
quick-
it's the raw egg yolk that's gonna bug people out in America, unfortunately. But
Yeah. Real quick, we got to talk about this clip that you did on Bunch of Bananas podcast. Let's just run the clip.
What is your top 5 East Asian foods?
I'm gonna go with a strong 5 Korean. Also, it's slightly biased just because I do look a little bit Korean. So sometimes the homies will hook it up.
Yeah, okay, all right.
Right? If I keep my mouth shut and smile and nod, I get served pretty good.
Oh, yeah,
right?
yeah.
Korean
Side dishes.
food is insanely economical. If you go there and order rice, you get like 10 side dishes.
Oh, yeah,
And
yeah,
you're
yeah,
straight.
yeah.
I'm gonna say number 4 though, and I'm gonna say Taiwanese. The flavors, if done right, is done right.
Yeah, it's
but
done
it's
right.
definitely not like higher than number 3, which is I'm Singaporean. I'm gonna go with Singaporean food. Rasa sayang, you know the deal.
Yeah.
And shout out Mei Mei. Second, I'm sorry, but like Vietnamese. Right?
Okay,
It
that's
doesn't
fine.
take the crown.
No,
It doesn't
that's
take the
fine, that's
crown.
fine, that's fine.
Because number 1, Japanese food, bro.
Yeah,
Trust
okay,
me,
fine,
because
fine.
if you gave me like one Japanese dish for the rest of my life, I could eat it for the rest of my life. I'm chilling.
Really?
Yeah, I'm chilling. No, I'm more than okay. But
Really? It's so rich though, no?
I'm gonna dilute it. I'm gonna put water. It's all good. Like I'm gonna eat it. I'm gonna eat it like plain. I could eat Vietnamese food for the rest of my life and be a-okay. Like I'll be an 80-year-old healthy ass guy.
Yeah.
But I couldn't eat one Vietnamese dish for the rest of my life, in my opinion.
Okay, fine.
Whoa.
That's
You
just
got
deep.
pho and bumbo way. Don't f with me then.
Okay, so this was one of the more viral clips that you were a part of on the one of the most popular British Asian podcasts. What did people say?
So you're talking about the top 5.
Yeah.
Right. So basically I got thrown under the bus for that one because I realized that I completely omitted Chinese food, which in my mind is kind of like the question was insinuating at top 5 foods that you leave the house to eat at a restaurant. You know what I mean? So I just want to save my own ass there where, look, it's an honest mistake, guys. It's off the top of my head. But I definitely think that like Viet food is still up there for me. If I had to revise the list, I definitely bump Chinese food to number 1. If I could really like.
Well, you know,
that
the
right
weird
now.
thing is, it's like like some people it's not Chinese, but some
Right.
people consider Singaporean food so quasi-Chinese or like.
I mean, when I say Chinese food, I'm just gonna refer to the food that my mom made growing up. So like that's my version of Singaporean Chinese food. But then also
The
like,
Bami's, the Hokkien Me's.
right, yeah. But like, if you really want to talk like specifics, then I'm just gonna go Singapore number 1. And then like, obviously within that demographic, we can get like nerdy with it, and then like obviously. there's
Yeah, I mean,
Chinese,
obviously
like,
you had
yes,
Japanese number 1. Let's be honest. As much as people like have the historical beefs or whatever their grandparents told them to feel, or whether you know what I mean, what happened. But it's like, I would say a lot of Asians, Andrew, would you say that would put Japanese as their number 1? Like that's not weird to say. It's almost like you say Japanese number 1 or 2, and then your parents' cuisine number 1 or number 2.
man, I got a hot take, man. I think Japanese top food, the best food in Japan, is top tier, A tier, but actually Japanese cuisine overall, it doesn't have that much flavor.
Okay.
You know, so I'm saying sushi, raw fish, A tier, S tier. I'm trusting the Japanese with that. With raw fish, omakases, sashimi.
You're saying
nigiri.
you want to see a Japanese gyro chef at omakase.
That's like top tier. Nothing beats that, I think, almost in the world. But a lot of like, even ramen is like debatably how like great, like ramen is kind of like, there's not that much meat in it. It's like,
No, it
very
is true that
rich.
Japanese food doesn't really like some of the more popular dishes, they don't not necessarily going to hit your soul.
It does
Because of the flavor profile is dashi. It's a lot of shoyu.
It don't got too much depth.
Seaweed.
I mean, no, I want to say I might disagree with on the depth point. I'd say it might have a lot of depth, but it doesn't mean it hits.
Okay.
And that's where I think Korean and Vietnamese food hit harder for me.
Okay.
Overall.
They do have more pungent flavor profiles for sure, Korean and
But
Vietnamese.
sushi is like number one like thing I would almost eat.
I think for me, like my take on that is that it depends on like the kind of like what you're feeling. Because if I'm trying to like really taste the shit out of something, it's definitely gonna be an omakase, Jiro Dreams, or sushi, like that whole raw fish experience. Because that's an unparalleled experience across all of like food, in my opinion.
Agreed.
Just leave the raw fish to the Japanese and just call it a day, right? They got it. But like in terms of like if you're like, let's say, hungry as shit and you just want something to like almost fix you, I feel like pho could do that for you in a way that maybe like only the top grade of ramen, let's say I'm flying to Tokyo and I'm eating a bowl of ramen in the snow, could do for me versus like just popping to a pho shop.
No, I feel what you're saying. If I've been hungry all day and I have the choice between Viet, Korean, or like a oyakudon, I'm gonna go with Viet or Korean over the oyakudon because it's just gonna be such a light flavor where I'm like trying to taste the dance of the steamed egg with the katsu, where I'm just like, I'm just trying to like go in on something that's gonna touch my receptors. And I think that, to your point, like China's so big, that's why I think like Sichuan food has been the most standout province from mainland China over the past like 10 years because there's no way you're missing that flavor profile. It's like,
it's
like
it
hitting you.
smacks you like
yeah. And people want something that smacks them, and
But then again, I hesitate to say that if I was hungry as shit, like the first thing that would be on my mind is like Sichuan food, because that's just gonna just burn my mouth, you know? What I mean?
No, you're right. You're right.
Like
You're right.
Hungry, like,
Sichuan to me, it's almost like this sounds crazy. I think as globally as like casual drug usage has gone up, I really view like Sichuan flavors coinciding with that because sometimes you almost have like a drug-induced feeling. Like I've had so much Sichuan food before where I started like seeing stars. Like I was like, it was like I don't know what was happening to the blood vessels or the oxygen pathways.
This is a great time to plug Smala sauce, guys. Check out Smala sauce. It has a hint of that intoxicating mala buzz, just a hint. But it's really the first Italian-inspired chili oil. It's delicious, goes on everything. You can buy it on Amazon, smalasauce.com.
All right, real quick, just to end off the video, what's one thing from America, the Asian American world or the Asian world in America that London really needs? Damn, you could just bring one. I'm sure there's a lot that is missing.
So if I had to really like dial it down to one, the first thing that jumps out to me is a collective. Like, and I'm not saying like a collective of like, let's say just of people, but like, let's say like, because over here, the culture, and we've been talking about this, where it's so like ingrained, where if I say like Asian, like it means something in your mind. In
boba and stuff, boba shops,
like,
Jabberwockies,
American sense. But like, if you're thinking Asian in the UK, apart from how an Asian person looks, you might draw a blank. And I'm talking East Asian. So I think that obviously I know a lot of people that are in the culture and pushing it forward. They're trailblazers in that sense. It's great. And if like they continue to push in that direction, they'll do for the future generations what you guys have did for Asian Americans.
Is boba popular in London?
Yeah, boba's hella popular. Like you just chicks love it, bro.
But is it not the same as here? It's like
No, but it's just one of those things. Like you wouldn't think Asian and boba. You just think like it as a separate entity where it's a good dessert to have.
It's not all tied together.
All right. You're taking a girl out on a date in London. Let's say she's like Lebanese, but you want to like show her some Asian food. Where do you take her?
Okay, so bro, shout out this one spot called Rasa Sayang. I know you guys know, and if you guys see this, I love you guys. In my opinion, it's up there with the best Southeast Asian food in the entire UK.
How you spell it?
RASASAYANG. So Rasa and Sayang.
All right.
Honestly, that place, like I'll stand by it. So if you don't like it, you can come see me about it.
Okay. What is one thing that is from the London Asian world that we don't have in America?
That's a really good question.
I just saw the salt and pepper fries. That was like the only thing. And by the way, I know that not all Chinese takeouts in London have that. It was just like one of them. But I just thought that was a cool idea because I wouldn't necessarily go for the curry fries. I would try them, but I would definitely go for the salt and pepper fries.
I'd say it's a really interesting point because now off the top of my head, I'm thinking most of my British Asian friends can speak their mother tongue because of the fact that they might be first-gen immigrants or their parents might be the first-gen immigrants, you know what I mean? So I think like there is a greater proportion of Asian Americans that I know that can't speak their mother tongue, or even can't speak it to a level in which they can communicate with their family, or if they were to like,
Yeah, I would say the rate of losing motherland tongue language fluency is pretty high in America.
Yeah, 100%. So as opposed to like in the UK, it'd be kind of like strange if you didn't speak it, because it's just like, bro, what are you doing? You know what I mean? So it's just like, I think that's for sure one thing that obviously things have changed, and like it's just like not the most easiest thing to learn growing up.
But what about food wise? Food wise,
bro, I'm just thinking honestly, the UK has
maybe. But, I mean, I would say maybe. I mean, obviously we've been talking about East Asian and Southeast Asian food, but I would like to try some of the higher end British Indian food.
Yeah, that's what I was just about to say.
Because I heard they invented butter chicken in Scotland, right?
I don't know if apart from like maybe a couple of like Indian restaurants in America, and especially like New York City, I couldn't even tell you like off the top of my head which are ones that are like really highly ranked among the top New York City establishments.
Yeah, it's not clear. It's not clear. I think Indian accent is up there. There's some experimental ones.
Right.
Andrew, you were saying that you wish from France they would bring the French baguette bread from the French banh mi's to America.
I mean, of course. I mean, the French baguette bread is so good, and the banh mi's are so cheap out there.
And
like
didn't
for a
you also
long
say,
bun-
Andrew, the Rojam Moors from Xi'an had better bread in France too?
Yeah, but I think that's also a regional thing, because there's a couple spots I've had the Rojamor that was very flaky outside of Paris, but I felt like in Paris they made sure it was flaky because they like flaky bread there.
Yo, I just thought of this.
Right.
What about a collaboration? And I know they have Earl Grey milk tea bobas, but like a real, true, proper British one that's British approved, but mix it with a boba. Fusion.
Yeah, no, that could go. That could go.
And how about this? Like you were saying that the Indian community British community is so heavy, a chai tea boba that is approved by both worlds too.
Hey, and then who's gonna make it happen? Yakun with the kaya toast, and then we're just gonna bring
see, that's it, man. All right, you guys, let us know what you think about London Asian food, whether East Asian, Southeast Asian, South Asian, how does it all interplay? Everybody check out Zach. Why don't you plug your social stuff real quick?
You guys, so you can find me probably in the links below. Just moved out here to New York, starting my own brand. It's called Undisputed. It's a boxing brand. Working with a music label. Shout out Half Moon. Start a daily vlog. You guys can catch me on there.
Well, can we see? Can you throw some punches and move the mic? Just let me see the shoulder roll. Let me just.
Yeah. Just show.
Oh yeah, I can see it. We can see it. Yeah, that looked good. Good. All right, everybody, check out Zach's stuff down below. What, David?
Oh yeah, if you guys want to check out this international Asian newsletter, give me your email below the fold.
All right, everybody, thank you so much for watching. Until next time, we out.
Peace.